I showed up late to our neighborhood's annual block party, trapped at work, wrestling with a last-minute deadline that had already shredded my patience. By the time I finally turned into our driveway, the street was glowing with life. Strings of golden lights shimmered overhead, music floated through the warm evening air, and laughter echoed from every direction, like the whole world was celebrating without me. I texted Sarah to let her know I was home, already imagining her in the backyard, glass of wine in hand, smiling as she chatted easily with neighbors. But as I walked toward the noise, I happened to glance through the kitchen window of the house next door and froze. There she was.
Sarah.
But not how I'd pictured. Derek, her coworker, stood inches from her, their bodies close, his hand at her waist. They were kissing. Not a quick, harmless peck, but something deep and deliberate, a kiss that said more than words ever could. For a moment, my mind just stopped. The laughter and music outside faded to a dull hum, leaving only that image, my wife, tangled up with another man. My keys dug into my palm as I stood there, unable to move. She hadn't noticed me. She was too lost in him, her fingers twisted in his hair, their closeness erasing any doubt that this was anything but a choice. And all I could think of was Mia, our 7-year-old, somewhere nearby, playing with her friends, blissfully unaware that her world was about to crack open. 9 years. 9 years of school drop-offs, weekend soccer games, pancake breakfasts, quiet nights, and shared dreams, unraveling in front of me through someone else's window. I wanted to shatter the glass, to scream, to make them feel the same pain burning through me. But instead, I forced myself to move. I walked through the crowd, through the laughter, through the music, until I reached the back door. The hinges creaked as I opened it, and they jumped apart like guilty kids caught red-handed. Sarah's face turned pale the moment she saw me. Her mouth opened, searching for words, but Derek didn't bother. He wiped his mouth, muttered something, and slipped past me, leaving her standing there, cornered and small. The music outside suddenly felt cruel, a soundtrack to a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. "What the hell is this?" I asked, my voice trembling with anger. "It's not what it looks like," she whispered, voice cracking. But deep down, I already knew. The late nights, the hidden texts, Derek's name showing up too often. I'd told myself I was being paranoid. Now I knew the truth. "Not what it looks like?" I snapped, stepping closer. "You were kissing him in front of everyone we know. How is that not what it looks like?" Tears filled her eyes, but they didn't touch me. Not this time. The pain was too raw. I turned before rage pushed me over the edge. Walking through the crowd again, I didn't hear the music or see the smiling neighbors, just shadows in the blur of my anger. Then I spotted Mia running toward me, face glowing with joy. "Daddy," she squealed, wrapping her arms around me. I knelt, hugging her tight. Her laughter soothed and stabbed all at once. I couldn't break in front of her. Not yet. So I took her hand, and together we walked to the car, away from the lights, the music, and the wreckage of what was left behind. Sarah's voice echoed down the street, calling my name, each syllable slicing through the night, but I didn't turn around. I couldn't. Every time I pictured her, I saw Derek's hands on her, his mouth where mine should have been. At home, Mia was still buzzing with excitement, rambling about the party. I nodded when she looked at me, pretending to listen, holding myself together just long enough to tuck her into bed. When the house went quiet, Sarah appeared in the doorway, her hands shaking. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "It was a mistake." The word hit like a slap. A mistake is forgetting to buy milk, not betraying your marriage. "This wasn't an accident," I said, my voice low. "You made a choice. Your choice to risk everything we had." She started crying, but I couldn't feel sympathy anymore. The image of her with him was burned into me like a photograph I could never erase. I grabbed a duffel bag, stuffing clothes inside with shaking hands. "Where are you going?" she asked, panic in her voice. "Out," I said flatly, without looking at her. I just needed air. For a second, I thought about how close I'd been to exposing her in front of everyone at that party, but I didn't. I swallowed it all, for Mia's sake. You need to figure out what you want, I told her, zipping the bag shut. Because I don't know if I can stay with someone who does this. Her silence was louder than any apology. The line between us wasn't just crossed, it was gone. I drove until the neighborhood lights faded behind me. Eventually, I found a rundown motel with a flickering neon sign. My phone buzzed again and again with Sarah's messages, apologies, excuses, promises, but I didn't answer. Lying there on that stiff mattress, staring at the ceiling, all I could think about was Mia and how I could protect her world, even as mine was falling apart. Because that kiss wasn't just a moment. It was Sarah choosing someone else, breaking everything we'd built. By morning, I was at Mia's soccer game. The sun was bright, and she was laughing, running across the field, chasing the ball. For the first time in days, I felt the weight lift just a little. Sarah wasn't there. She'd texted that she was staying with her sister to give me space. I didn't care. All that mattered was Mia knowing she could count on me, at least one parent steady enough to stay. The neighbors would gossip. Let them. I owed them nothing. What Sarah did cost her my trust, maybe even our marriage. I didn't know if this was the end or the painful start of something new. But one thing was clear, I wouldn't let her betrayal define me. When Mia came running into my arms after the game, grinning and breathless, something inside me shifted. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But resolve. Sarah's choice had destroyed the version of us I once believed in. But I would rebuild, even if it was just me and Mia. Whether that meant divorce or the long road to healing, it would happen on my terms. Because the party was over, and so was pretending everything was fine.